Yo, what's going on, everybody? Uh, Again, like as you know, I'm the Black Manga Critic. This is basically just gonna be a stream where we talk about whatever. Like you can ask me anything, you can ask me whatever questions you want to ask. I'm basically, basically like I mean, really, you could ask me anything. Um, I think, I don't particularly have anything necessarily that I want to talk about. Like so, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for everybody to come through. Or whoever comes through, and we're just gonna talk about whatever. So let's get started. Hey, Professor Pokegeek, Shogun Senpai, Joseph Logan, what's going on? What's going on? I'm going to add Shogun Senpai as a moderator. Basically, that means you are now one of the cool people, of this like really awesome community that I just recently got to join. Featuring Professor Pokegeek, Joseph Logan, Dustin Reacts, Brago, the Ace. You know what I mean? Like all the good motherfuckers. You know what I mean? One Vision, Orpheus. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. Okay. So like I said, whatever. Oh yeah. I saw. Thanks, Professor Pokegeek. Yeah, I followed you on Twitter. I was like, oh, okay. Let me make sure I follow. I saw your sort of like it was kind of like a DBZ sort of AMV. It was cool. I liked it. It was like real like memories because some of the videos were like sort of like DVIX or DIVX or something like that. I believe is what it was like. Like the codecs and stuff like that. Like I remember that. That was cool. That was cool. Okay, so your first so your first question is what is a main character? Oh, that's tough, man. I mean, I guess like it's sometimes like it can be the individual in which like the story or the sort of large like main narrative like circles around. So like I mean generally people think of a main character as a protagonist, right? So I guess like is your question like is it like are main characters and protagonists different? I guess that's sort of like a question that you could ask, and I don't know. Like I have to think about it. I don't know if I've read any like theory or articles or books or anything like that or even or videos or whatever that have like talked about that distinction. But that'd be interesting. So yeah, I guess like for me like a main character is like an individual that is like at the forefront of any given like story or like large sort of narrative, larger narrative. Whether it's a film, comic book, novel, whatever. You know what I mean? So that if anything, that's how I would answer that. But we could definitely have a discussion about that. Okay, follow back to Twitter. Yeah. Okay. Got you. Shogun Senpai, I got you. So yeah. Whatever you want to ask, man. Like, yeah, like, whatever. But I'm going to make a video debunking variant comics. So well, what would that video be like? What would you like talk about? Or is it that you want me to do a video like debunking like variant comics? I like doing like videos like that is something that I want to do like sort of when I have more time because like it takes like that's like all those videos that you see like out there like it's time consuming. I'm like it's really time consuming, and usually like you only sort of tend to do videos like that are like really intense like if that's like your job. Like a Mother's Basement or Digibro or even like for Neverworld to a lesser extent. Let me see. Do we play any video games? Yeah. I used to play a ton of video games. Yo, Havoc, I gotta add you, Havoc, as a moderator. Okay. I used to play a ton of video games. I was definitely like I'm still like a Nintendo fanboy. Still a Nintendo fanboy. I love all those games. I love like the from the NES all the way up to the Switch. I haven't bought the Switch yet, just because I'm not trying to spend money unless I'm gonna play like at least 10 games on like a system. If I'm not gonna play at least 10 at the least like 10 games on a system, I'm not gonna buy that system. That's like a waste of my money. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about that. I mean, some people might buy a system for like one game and they never touch it. That's like a waste of my money. Like, because for me, like a system is an investment. Like when I was a kid, My parents couldn't they couldn't afford like to get all of my brothers like and I and me like uh every system that came out. So like we had like a Nintendo 64, and that was like the only system that we had for the longest time until like my brother was old enough to like get a job and then save up some money to go buy a GameCube. So I've always been in like the Nintendo fan because like out of sort of like necessity almost. Like it was always like the cheaper of the systems in a way. But yeah, you know what I mean. So like, if I'm not gonna buy a system unless like I really know that I'm gonna buy like play like at least 10 games on that system. Like I have a Wii U, and like I wouldn't say it's like a total waste of money, but like I like it's like in a closet somewhere. You know what I mean? Like like no, I'm not gonna make that same mistake again. Nintendo's not gonna fool me again. So you said who is the best rapper of all time? Ooh, that's a good question. It's tough. Usually, what people tend to do is they tend to ask like, they tend to ask you like, who's your top 3 rappers? I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna like actually give you like a straight answer. If I had to I give an honest answer, I would say the best rapper of all time is Black Thought. Honestly, if I like, I mean, I get Andre 3000. I totally understand that. I totally get Andre 3000. I totally get people who would say Jay, people who say Nas. Even like the like kind of deluded people that would say Eminem. You know what I mean? Like I get where that comes from. I would never say that shit. Like no, but I get where it comes from. You know what I mean? Even like the really young people who like we might have just gotten into rap and like love Kendrick like to death, and like yeah, Kendrick's talented. He's a great rapper and everything like that. He's a dope artist. But I would not put him as like the greatest of all time. That's crazy. I understand people who say like he's the greatest. Even the people that say he's the greatest rapper alive is like ridiculous because like no, because you still have your Nas's out there, you still have your Black Thoughts out there, you still have your Andre 3000s out there, you still have your Jays out there, you still have your man, even like a Jada Kiss. You know what I mean? Like like even like some of the battle rappers, you still have Cassie out there. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking about rapping, just like straight rapping, like there's so many artists that like to me are like better than Kendrick. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult for me like to get to understand why people would say like Kendrick is like the best rapper ever. Like that's wild. That doesn't make any sense to me. But if I'm going with anybody, I'm rolling with Black Thought. Like I've never heard a whack a bar or even a whack song from the Roots from Black Thought. Like I haven't heard one. Like if you could point me to a song that was like, nah, that shit was trash. Like I've never heard one. You know what I mean? Like he's so consistent. Like his consistency is like ridiculous. Andre 3000 like as well is like very good. Like his bars is crazy. You know what I mean? And then when he and Big Boy got together to form like Outkast, I was like, those albums are great. Out of the Wild is a fantastic album. Speaker Box, right? Was a fantastic album. Like all that shit was really, really good, really good shit. Let me see. Let's see. As far as main characters go, who's your top guy, girl? Are we talking about manga, like an anime, or are we talking about just like in the pantheon of like stories? You know what I mean? Like just let me know about that, and then I like keep it in mind, and then I'll think about like who my favorite main character ever is. That's hard, man. That's a hard thing because I read a lot, but that's hard. Let's see. Kanye, Eminem, Logic for me. Okay, yeah. Like I mean, like Kanye's one of those people. Like, if I had to pick 3 of my top MCs, it'd be like just in terms of like just like all around like MCs, like Black Thought would definitely be one. I like this is like a curveball for a lot of people, but I go with Lauryn Hill. It would be number 2. And then the third one's a little tougher because I have a lot of people, but it's tough. But it's tough. It's tough. That one's hard. If I had to go through right now, like just off the top of my head of just like albums that I've enjoyed, things like that, I'd probably have to go. I'd probably have to go with Kanye. And like if I like were really thinking about it, maybe like Talib Kweli or Mos Def like would be sort of like tied for like 4. But like if I were to go 3, it'd be like Black Thought, Lauryn Hill, Kanye. In terms of like my personal like just artists that I always enjoy that I like play on repeat. Like I play their albums on repeat. I appreciate their like just like their like ridiculous like almost otherworldly like preternatural skill. Like Lauryn Hill, if Lauryn Hill kept going and had like let's say like 4 quality albums, to me, she beats like the top MC ever, because like name me like another MC that like could rap as well as she did and could sing as well as she did. You know what I mean? Like she did both at like a high level. I don't know any other MCs that like do both at a high level. Like Drake, people be like, "Oh, Drake could sing." Like Drake can't sing. Get out of here. Drake, like, you know, does his like, you know, when you see like the 13-year-old kid that's at the choir, you know, doing his singing, and he not there yet. You know, he might be good like at some point, but he's not there yet. He's like, you know, Drake is like, you know what I mean? Like Drake is not a Lauryn Hill in terms of like the skill level in both categories. You know, like that's what I would go for it. Oh yeah, Quelly definitely probably shut him down. I follow him on Twitter. Like he's always like just shutting. He's always just like shutting white people down. He's like, so he has no chill. He has absolutely no chill. Like it's really intense. That's just funny as hell though. Let me see. Favorite waifu as Death or Hime Hinata. Like, yeah, Hinata's cool. I've always liked Hinata as a character. From Naruto. I think a lot of people like gave a lot of like undue hate. I mean, like, I didn't really understand it. But I've always liked Hinata as a character from Naruto. I'm still trying to think of who like my favorite like main character. That's hard because like I got to think about like all the books that I've read and like all the comics that I've read and like the anime that I've watched and the manga that I've read. Like I got to think about all that shit. Like short stories. Like, yo, that shit is hard. I got to think about it. I might have to come back to you about that because I got to really think. I got to really think in terms of main characters. That's tough. But let me see what else we got. Favorite football team? Oh, I mean, I've been a Jets fan since I was like 9, maybe even 8. I would say like 8 or 9. Yeah, because like my dad is a huge Jets fan. He's a huge Jets fan. I think like a lot, right? Like a lot of like if you ever had like a an immigrant parent who loves sports, like in New York City, like they always like it's almost like a next level sort of like attachment to a New York City team. Partly because like they, you know, like a lot of them like my father, like, you know, they want to assimilate to you know, they want to assimilate the cult, like this sort of like New York City like culture like as quickly as possible so they can move on and move up and like, you know, like, and, you know, collect that money and everything like that to support their families if they have families, support their loved ones or whatever. You know what I mean? So like they tend to like attach themselves to like big like parts of like whatever like New York City culture is, and like the Jets or the Giants, like that's like a big part of like, you know, New York City culture and like sports culture, right? So, or the Mets or the Yankees, you know what I mean? So that's yeah, so that's me. I mean, like my favorite team is the Jets. You know, like the organization is like incredibly flawed, and like I mean I can't even I mean, part of the reason why I don't watch football right now is just because like I have an issue, you know, I have my issues with the NFL, with the racism that exists in there and all that like bullshit. I can't deal with it. I don't like it. You know what I mean? So I don't particularly like, I haven't really been keeping up with football like that. Very sparingly. I don't really watch any games or anything like that. Outside of like this season and a little bit of last season, but mainly this season. But yeah, like Jets fan, like I'm a Jets fan, but the organization is shit. Like they need to like clean house, like really clean house. You know what I mean? Like, and the sad thing is that like a lot of times you can't clean house because, you know, these owners, like it's very difficult to force owners to give up like the team, right? Like the last time I saw that was like right with what was his name, Donald Sterling with the Clippers. Like that was the last time I saw that, but that was like it's a different organization, right? Like in terms of the NBA, when you compare the NBA to the NFL, like the NBA is much more, you know, swift and like and pretty good about like getting certain things done, right? And when it comes to like race relations and stuff like that, and like racism and certain things like that, right? But like the NFL is horrible, as you can see, they're horrible, you know. So you're never gonna see like an owner like, you know, willingly like give up, you know. Or you know, you'll never see an owner like being forced to give up like their team or something like that. But let me see. Huge Steelers fan. Look, man, look, I'm not like one of those sports fans. The only teams, like the only sports fans that I cannot like, I'll never like be like, yeah, I support your like your fandom, are like Patriots fans. That's a no for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a baseball fan, so I have no real ill will towards like Boston Red Sox fans outside of like sometimes, you know, you have like a lot of the racism that goes on in Fenway Park and shit like that. But in terms of like sports, like I'm not like, this guy's a fucking fan, like we can't be friends. That's not me. That's not me at all. Like I'm just like I love the sport. You know what I mean? Like I'm a fan to an extent. Like I'm a fan, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not gonna go and be like, I'm not gonna be friends with that person because they're a fan of a sport. That's ridiculous. You know, but yeah. I mean, if you're a Steelers fan, I totally understand that. I mean, the Steelers, like, they got a great team. Like, Antonio Brown is, like, smoking motherfuckers. You know what I mean? You know, Le'Veon Bell, when he's on the field, is, like, beast, you know, beast mode. You know what I mean? Right? Like, he's not actual beast mode like Marshawn Lynch or anything like that. Like, you know, like the actual beast mode. But, he's, like, really fucking good. He's so versatile, like, right, as a running back. Like, you know, Ben Roethlisberger, he might need to retire. He might need to sit down because, like, he's been, you know, he's been a little sus. I was listening to an argument with Double for Anime about Boruto as a character, and he got angry because I was talking about it as a whole. How is Double for a white supremacist? Okay. Top 3 movies. I'm gonna get into the how is Double for a white supremacist in like a bit later, maybe into the video, because like that's a very like it's not super complicated, but it's difficult to like explain, especially when you have white people who don't actively go out of the way to say particularly sort of like explicitly racist things, right? Or explicitly put down particular races. But I've heard like stories. Like I've heard stories, like I haven't seen this stuff, right? Sometimes, but I've heard stories like people talk about videos where he's, you know, said particular things. So if I'm going with that, then yeah, but I'm not sure. So I can't like say, oh, he's definitely white supremacist. But I'll try to go on and talk about how like I feel about white supremacy and how it reveals itself and how white people reveal themselves as white supremacists. But I'm gonna get to which question? Top 3 movies? Oh Lord, that's such a hard question, man. Well, actually, no. Let me get to Boruto because he said Professor Pokey was like Boruto as a character has potential, but he's not a main character. Yeah, no, real talk. We talked about this in the other stream. Like Boruto is not really like he's like a main character in like he's like a de facto like sort of main character, right? He's sort of like, oh, like, you know, like officially he's the main character, right? And like he's a main character because like his dad was the main character of the last series, right? Like there's like that sort of connection, right? Like so he's like, you know, a main character sort of by default almost. But like you're right, like I mean, like there are ways in which like he's not really at the forefront of the story. In some ways that can be a good thing, but like when you have like, but that only usually turns out to be a good thing if your main character is interesting, if they have like the sort of gravitas that they need to be a main character and to be able to go off and do other things while a supporting character like takes like center stage, right? Otherwise, like the main character gets lost. It's sort of like it's kind of like with Ichigo, right? Like whenever I was watching Bleach or reading Bleach, and the narrative was like all about like, let's say one of the other captains, right? On the Santa Table, whatever, right? Like and one of the other captains, right? You know, they were battling, they were doing the thing. I was like wholly invested in what was going on in that battle. I had no shits to give about like whatever the fuck Ichigo was doing because Ichigo was a boring, bland character. I had no interest in him. I had more interest in Ichigo Zanpakuto, right? Than Ichigo himself. I had no interest in Ichigo, like as a person. What does he love? What does he hate? What not, right? Anything like that. I had no interest in Ichigo as a person. All I cared about was like, right, Ichigo was more of a like to me, Ichigo was kind of like not even an extension of the Zanpakuto, but just like he just was like he was more like a tool for the Zanpakuto like to be used, right? Like you needed Ichigo because he was a person, and the Zanpakuto can't really like, you know, do anything on its own or everything like that. But Ichigo was just like like I never gave a shit about Ichigo. You know what I mean? Like I gave a shit about the Zanpakuto because that's where the powers came from. That's where all the cool shit came from. You know, so I think there's something to be said about like, you know, it's like Luffy. Like you care about Luffy, right? You like you care about Luffy just as much, right, just as much if not more than like his devil fruit, right? Like it's not like, oh, I care about, you know, the Gomu Gomu no Mi like more than I care about Luffy. That's not, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? Like, or it's like I care more about like the Nine-Tailed Fox than I care about Naruto. No, 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 no. You know, like that, like it doesn't work that way with those series. But with Bleach, that's how it kind of worked, and that's kind of how I see things like with Boruto working. Like he doesn't have enough, like, right, like his history is embedded, is directly embedded in Naruto's own history, right? Like that's where like you know, he doesn't have an identity, and in some ways like that's what Boruto is about. Like Boruto, like, you know, building his own identity and everything like that. But like that doesn't mean that like your character can't be interesting while he's developing his like identity, right? Or his or her identity, right? Or their identity. So like that's probably my biggest issue with Boruto, and why I don't like follow it nearly as much as I could. Yo, Dragon Knight 66, I gotta add you as a moderator. Oh, come on, you've been there since the beginning. Yeah, Get Out is really good. Get Out is so good, man. Like there's just a lot going on there. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, it there are moments where like you as like a person of color would like laugh, and particularly a black person, right? Like you'll laugh at some certain things because you've experienced those things before. Where it's almost like a weird kind of like it's so, you know, like whenever you're like it's like a laughter of like when you've experienced things and you laugh with other people who've also experienced those things, and you can sort of like you know, think about your experiences and laugh at them after the fact. But there's very much so a lot of like pain in that history, you know, and trauma and things like that in that history. So it's a really, really good film. Like it does a lot of good great things. You know, so let me see. Let's see. Let me see. But I got to think about the top three movies. Let me get into that. Like top three movies. If I had to pick top three, that's tough. Oh, okay. So top three movies. Like number one, definitely The Lion King is like, oh, is always gonna be in my top three. And it's not because like it's like it's not even like a critical top three or anything like that. It's just like this is like this is like one of those movies that like I can sit down at any moment in time, wherever I am, put it on and watch it straight through. Like this is like I love The Lion King. Like I remember when I was a kid, I want to say it was like first grade, yeah, first grade, and they had like like in my school, like with my public school, they do like this little like book fair thing. That was like the one time that my parents like went out of their way to give me money so that I could buy a book because we couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? So that was like that was like one of those moments where like I think they understood how much I loved like The Lion King, but also like how much I wanted this book. So they got that for me, and like I love that book. I'm pretty sure like it got destroyed like over like time because it was like, you know, it was like a picture book with some words, you know, but it was a picture book, right? So I love that book, but I love the movie. I love The Lion King. Like I love it to death. Like it just everything about it was so good, you know. And The Lion King 2 is also like great. And sometimes I even think about like whether I like The Lion King 2 more than I like The Lion King. Sometimes I'm like, damn, like that shit was good. Like, you know what I mean? Because it had right, the at the center of it was like they dealt with so many themes and issues in The Lion King 2 that like The Lion King kind of did not, right? Because like in some ways they couldn't. You know what I mean, with Kovu and Kiara and all of that. Like, I love The Lion King too, but I love The Lion King. The Lion King has a special place in my heart. So that would be my top movie. The other two, that's hard. If I had to pick a second one, I would say I love The Shawshank Redemption was also very good. I love that movie. I love that movie to death. That movie is fucking like phenomenal. Like it was one of those movies like I think that was like one of the first few movies where I was like really sort of introduced to like the intensity, like the intensity that a film could have. And like just so many great moments about that. I like the you know, like Brooks, like so many really poignant moments, like where I legit like I felt like maybe I wanted to cry, but I couldn't because I was still like, you know, very much in like my machismo self and shit like that. And I couldn't I couldn't cry. But now it's like when I see that movie and I watch certain scenes, like the waterworks, man, they just get to me. You know what I mean? If you don't like, look, man, if you don't believe in white supremacy, Havoc, that's like, you know what I mean? Like we can have that conversation. I'm not gonna be like, you're white. Like I'm not gonna get on you like that. You know what I mean? Just because sometimes that actually can be productive where like, you know, there are people who just like will not like open their minds up to even to like a discussion, right? So like sometimes those people, you got to be like, all right, like you stay over there, we're gonna do our thing, we're gonna progress, we're gonna do this thing as people of color, as Black people, right? Like but like, look, you know, like if you want me to give you some books, if you want me to give you some articles, if you want me to give you if you want to point you towards people, it doesn't have to be YouTube, it doesn't have to be Twitter. Like it could just legit be like scholars, you know what I mean? Like, and this is on both sides, right? This is like I'm talking about like scholars of all ilk, right? I'm talking about Black scholars, white scholars, Asian American scholars, Asian scholars, African scholars, Chicana scholars, you know what I mean? Like I could go all over the fucking place, and I could just give you text after text after text after text that like goes, you know, into right like how white supremacy exists and how it you know permeates like not only the United States but like the world. You know what I mean? Like I could do that, but like I'm not necessarily gonna do that for the stream just because I think like that's too much. Like that's a conversation that's like way too big for the stream, I think. But we could have a stream about that where we talk about it and I could just like lay down fact after fact after fact after fact. You know what I mean? We could do that too. And that'd be fine. And I'm not gonna come at you like wrong or anything like that because I try not to do that unless someone comes at me wrong. You know what I mean? Then it's like then I gotta lay down facts and I gotta like, you know, like put your ass down. You know what I mean? Like then I gotta do that. But most of the time people come at me pretty cool. Let me see. Yo, Nakamanga. Hey, what's good, man? I gotta add you as a moderator too. You know this. Yo, shouts out to Nakamanga. We had a really dope stream last week on Yu Yu Hakusho and Deadman Wonderland. I have not finished Deadman Wonderland, and he has not finished Yu Yu Hakusho. So let's not talk about like, you know, let's not spoil anything, please. You know what I mean? You know, this is a spoiler-free zone. We not about that life. So yeah. But let's see what's going on. TLK. No, yo, Dragon Ice, yo. I'm telling you, man, I've had legit discussions with myself. And my fiance too. Like we've had discussions where it's like, yo, is the Lion King 2 like low key like better than the Lion King? Like we could have this discussion. Quickly, I'm gonna think about my third movie while we have this discussion. But yeah, definitely. Yo, definitely sub to Nakamanga too. Check out some of his content, cool stuff. He's got a really dope Shonen Jump magazine collection, weekly Shonen Jump magazine collection, really dope shit. You know what I mean? Yo, talk to him about stuff. You know, sub. Let me think. What the fuck? But yeah, like, and check out that video too. Check out the video that Nakamanga and I did on Deadman Wonderland and Yu Yu Hakusho. It was a really dope stream. Like we talk about a lot. And let us know like if you want to do like similar types of conversations. You know what I mean? Let us know. What was I gonna say? How many of y'all have seen The Lion King and The Lion King 2? This is just like a question for all y'all in the stream because I love that fucking movie. Yo, Havoc, real talk, man. We could definitely have that discussion. Like I said, like I'm all about like opening like you know, spaces for dialogue. Like I'm not like Twitter is a different space, right? Because with Twitter, it's very difficult to have that kind of discussion. With Twitter, you really have to sort of like, it's almost like you have to kind of have like you know, piercing like right comments, right? Because you have to get to the point. You can't sort of sugarcoat things. Tweets aren't like that. And I'm not about like, you know, putting like 8 or 9 or 12 like tweets to explain myself when like I can do that work somewhere else. Like a lot of people won't read all those tweets unless they follow you or unless they definitely agree with the initial tweet that you put out, right? So like I don't think it's a space where it's very it's not a useful space for large scales, like long discussions where you can really like go back and forth and have particular and put particular points forth. But I'm definitely gonna like do a stream at some point where we do that. Let me see. Joseph Logan, which character death in manga anime was most impactful for you? Ooh, that's a good question. Dragon Knight 666, We Are One is, I love that song. I sing that song sometimes to myself. It's such a good song. In both movies. You know what I mean? Like, no. I believe We Are One is only Lion King 2, right? Like I believe, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might be in both, but I don't think so. I think it's only in the Lion King 2. It's just a good song. All the characters were great. Kofi was great. Kiara was great. Simba, like, you know, really like stepped up a bit from the first film. What you would call it? Zero was she was a phenomenal villain. Let me think. Which character death in manga anime was the most impactful for you? Oh man, this is tough. I really gotta think. I really gotta think. For whatever reason, I can't think about it. This might be this might be a tie. Okay, so this is gonna be really like sort of off the cuff. All right. So the first one, I'm looking at like my shelf right now, and I'm thinking of like, I'm looking at some of them and I'm like, oh, like, yeah. The first one, this is gonna be kind of unorthodox because this character was already dead, kind of. But the first, don't worry, you're not gonna don't worry about it. Like, if you don't remember the Lion King 2, just like go ahead, watch that. You know, come back and like we can have a discussion like whenever about it. But Mulan, we're gonna get to Mulan after I do the most impactful death. It's a tie. The first one, I had to put this one, was Sai from Hikaru no Go. That shit had me devastated for, I want to say, like a month. Like for a good month, I was devastated, and right, because it was like a symbolic death, right? Like it wasn't like, oh, you know, because Sai had already died in a sense, right, physically. But like when he just, you know, when he did, like, it was so sudden. It was such a sudden disappearance that like for a good month, I could not watch the rest of the series. I had to like walk away from Hikaru no Go after that point. And then after like a good month, I came back to the anime. My goodness, I can still remember now. Like I was just the sadness, man. I was like, what happened? Like, that was sad as hell. But if I think, I want to think of the other death. I'm trying to. Whatchamacallit? The other one was if you guys ever read Assassination Classroom, that's a really good Shonen Jump manga. I mean, both of them are Shonen Jump, like right. But if I think the second one that was pretty impactful, like that was really good because like at the end of it, right, because the whole point, like I if you haven't, I won't. But there was a death in there in Assassination Classroom that was like particularly like, wow. Like for me, it was like, god damn. Like I didn't expect it to hit me as hard as it did, but it did. That would be like it's a tie because both of those sort of like hit me in the same sort of like level, but in different ways. With like Hikaru no Go, I could not come back to the series for a good month for the anime, and for Assassination Classroom, it was just like it was like I appreciated it because I appreciated the writing, I appreciated the journey and everything like that, and the manga just kind of like finished in such a satisfying way. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, yo, Mulan, man. Yo, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Oh my goodness, man. I love that movie. Yo, I gotta think about like Disney. Like what are like my top 5 Disney films? That's so hard. That's so hard. That's so difficult, man. You know? It's so difficult to do a Disney top 5, yo. Yo, it is. Yeah, right. I mean, but like like I think they work in different ways, right? The manga is very different because it's very similar. Like it's got a similar kind of like Reborn vibe. I would say if I had to compare it to another manga, I compare it like a couple of manga to Reborn, but like Assassination Classroom is another one because right, Reborn and Assassination Classroom do comedy really well, and they mix in the comedy and the action and friendship. They do all three things like very well, right? Like that's like the sort of like triangle of Shonen Jump, right? Comedy, battles, and friendship, right? Like, right. So I love Assassination Classroom. I would definitely pick it up. You like I read the manga before I watched the anime because I read the manga before I watched the anime, and I love the manga. I love that. I love the manga. It was so good. I read and it's finished, right? So you can just kind of go through it. But I think it just was well done. It like the pacing was really great. You know, like that, like it was very clever in the way that they like had like that they like sort of connected all the like plots and like the like sort of like arcs and things of that nature. Really, really good. Really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Let me think. You gonna go on Twitter? What for? Let me see. But I'm still. Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't know if America has finished the volumes. It probably has, but like I haven't picked it up yet. I only have like 3 or 4 volumes of Assassination Classroom, just because like it's like I'm very careful about spending like all my money in one place, like in terms of comics, because like I can definitely do that, and I don't want to do that. So I'm very careful about like methodically making sure like if I go to like a Kinokuniya like in New York City, or like a comic book shop that has like that holds manga, I'm like, okay, like I'm either like I'll always get one. I'll always buy of the first volume of a manga that I haven't read yet, and then like I'll buy like maybe like another volume or two of like manga that I've already read, and like I'm trying to like get the whole like series and everything like that. Yeah. Um Yo, so many badass moments in Assassination Classroom, man. I mean, really good stuff. Just really, really, really great stuff. I mean, there were like a bunch of them, but I know, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, um, yo, I mean, man. Okay, so we if we want to do the Disney thing, we can do the Disney thing, and we should talk about Mulan. We're gonna get to talk about Mulan, but let me get to top 3 female male characters, specifically in shonen manga. For me, Emma's number one. From Promised Neverland. I love Emma to death. She's just like there are characters that when you follow their growth, where you follow their story and their narratives and whatever, they just make you they even when they're going through shit, they just make you like happy in a sort of way because like right, because the character is like in some ways right like an extension of the writing abilities and the artistic abilities of the mangaka, right, and the artist, if they're like split. But like I love Emma to death. I think she's a phenomenal character. And okay, so if we're not talking about like protagonists, because sometimes like we don't love like protagonists, right? Like sometimes the protagonists aren't our favorite characters. So if we're gonna go to One Piece, a lot of people love Luffy, and Luffy's like their favorite character, and Luffy's not even in my top 10. Like Luffy's cool. I like Luffy, right? Like this is not to say I dislike Luffy, but my favorite character from One Piece, I mean one of my favorite top 3 characters, I love Jinbei. Jinbei is like right almost right there with Emma as like just like the top character. I love Jinbei to death. Jinbei is like one of those characters like right like as the reader of One Piece, you watch Jinbei and you're like, yo, like if I was a character in One Piece, I'd be doing the same shit that Jinbei would be doing. You know what I mean? Like I would do all of the things and make all of the decisions that Jinbei has made, and I do them in the same style and like and with the same class and like the same badassery, right? Like sort of quiet badassery that is Jinbei. Like I love Jinbei to death. He's my favorite character in One Piece. I gotta get it. I want to get a figure for him, but like figures of Jinbei like are so fucking expensive. But eventually I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get a Jinbei figure. some point, maybe like in January or like late December, something like that. But I love him. Three's hard. I gotta think about like everything that I read, and shit, man. Let me think. Think. Hmm. It's tough. Tough. Gotta think about all it. And Shonen manga. What the hell is the third character gonna be? Shit. Uh, um, I will say, I haven't I haven't read all of like Kingdom yet, like not by a long shot, but I love Kyokai. I love her character. She's phenomenal. Phenomenal character. If I had my top three would be those three. Would be right, and yeah, it would be Emma, then Jinbei, um, then Kyokai. Yep, those are my three. Like, and there are a lot of other characters that I could probably think of, and like later on, I'll be like, oh, I gotta change my list. But in terms of the third one, right? Because Emma and Jinbei will not change, but Kyokai might change. But right now, those are my three. Right? He's the only one. He really is, right? Jinbei is very much so to me, right? Like, and this is what's shown in manga, especially, I think. Most shonen manga will always have a character that I believe is an extension of like the reader's thoughts and how the reader's perceiving like the events that go on within the shonen manga, and can like critically think about what's going on, how those things would and how they should make decisions based on like whatever, right? And Jinbei is like that character. Jinbei's like, fuck is going on here? Why are y'all so ridiculous? You know what I mean? Let's do this thing. Let's make these moves because they make sense and because we'll stay alive if we make these moves. I care about all y'all, right? But like, let's go. So I love Jinbei. Let me see. Let's talk about. Did I miss anything? Like, I feel like the movies. Like, I didn't mention my top three movies, but I know I mentioned The Lion King and The Shawshank Redemption are two. I'm trying to think of a third movie that I really, really love. There's a third movie that I really love. The third movie that I love, there's a movie that a lot of people haven't seen that my fiance introduced me to, but it was really good. It was so fucking good. I didn't think that I would enjoy it as much as I did. It's called Stoker. And I can't remember the director of the film. Like I said, like there's like all the cinematography and shit like that, like and all that stuff. But but that film was really good. I'm not gonna tell you what it's about because like that sort of spoils it in a way. But if you just look it up, it stars Matthew Good, who plays Ozymandias, I think is how you pronounce that, from Watchmen, and a bunch of other like characters. But like he's very good. He's very good in that film. And Mia, I can't pronounce her last name. Something. I can't remember her name, but like she does like a lot of like she's done some roles. But it's a really good film. It's like whoa, like it's like a bit of mystery, really intense shit. Really good. Kind of thriller. I like it a lot. That would be my top three. My top three for right now would be The Lion King, Shawshank Redemption, and Stoker. Those are the three films that like really hit me. I was like, oh shit. I was like, my goodness. But I probably have a whole bunch of other films that I really, really loved, and like I could like easily exchange with like the latter two, right? I'm looking like at like one of my DVD sort of like cases right now, and I'm like, there are a whole bunch of films on there that I'm like, oh. But those are my three films. Like if I had to think of like three films that I was like, these films were masterfully done. Those three. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna TV series. Well, quickly, let me just talk about Mulan very quickly because like I adore Mulan. Mulan has one of the best soundtracks of the Disney films. Disney films just generally have like phenomenal soundtracks, but I love Mulan. Mulan was fantastic. I remember seeing that as a kid, and I was like, yo, like, god damn, this is a good fucking film. Like you know what I mean? Like it was like it was really good. Like Mulan as a protagonist was phenomenal. she was like, she was like really, really on it. Like she was like, yo, fuck it. I'm gonna make sure I like get to, become a soldier and like do these things and make my family proud and blah blah blah. And she was like the best warrior out of everybody. Like she was killing the game. You know what I mean? The songs are great. Yeah, let's get down to business. Like that's like I'll make a man. I'll make a man out of you. Something like that. I think it's like the actual title. But I mean, that's what I think. I always think about Let's Get Down to Business. I love that fucking film. Let's get down to business. To defeat the Huns. Like I love that fucking film. Like that shit is great, man. That shit is greatness. That song is greatness. Because it's like such a hype song. Because it does so many things, right? Like it's a hype song, but it also shows that like, hey, like women can be like super strong too, and they, like, just as good as like men when it comes to particular things. So like, you know what I mean? Like, really, really great film. Really, really great film. What was it? TV series. The only thing I'm watching right now is The Walking Dead, but I'm curious. Recommendations over. TV series. I'm trying to think of one that I really liked. There's one that I really like. Okay, so sometimes like I think if people don't like what they sort of deem to be like social justice warrior, right? Like TV shows, then some of my recommendations you might not like because like they have like they're very like at the forefront of the comedy and things like that, right? Right? Yeah. Yo, real talk. Shang really did. He really like real talk. He really like he clearly was like yo like Mulan, right? Like Shang might be bi. Shang might be bi, right? Like that's definitely like a theory that's probably been thrown around. Like there's probably fan fiction on like Shang and Mulan before Mulan reveals herself to be a woman, right? Like I'm pretty sure there's fan fiction all over the fucking place. Yeah, that was great. That was cool because like Shang was a real dude, in that sense. Let me think. TV series. I'm trying to like one that I guess I would sort of recommend is I love the Mindy Project. That shit is hilarious as hell. You know what I mean? Like I think one of the reasons why I love the Mindy Project so much is like there's one character on there. His name is Danny, and he's like such a like bro. You know what I mean? And you've met bros, right? You've met guys who are just like not comfortable like with like anything particularly like sexual outside of their like outside of what they conceive to be like sexuality and shit like that. And anytime like like they're introduced to that, they're like no, you know what I mean, like shit like that. You know what I mean, like on some like 16-year-old shit. And he's just like such a bro. Like he's like this Italian dude from Staten Island, like mad fucking bro. You know what I mean? Like ridiculous. But like he's the bro who like hides all of the things that he thinks are like that will like ruin his like life. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm not gonna ruin it because like I think he's a great like character in that show, and I just love that show. That show was funny. That show was funny to hell to me. But like if I'm thinking about other shows, another sort of social justice that like to have like social, right? Because it features like Black people are at the forefront of this show, right? Like most of the cast is Black or Afro Latina or Latinos, right? So like A Different World is phenomenal. I mean, people love the Cosby Show, but like like Cosby Show like was cool like for what it was, but like A Different World just took it to a whole nother fucking level. For its time, it was like wow. And then pretty much any Black sitcom, like real talk. This is something like I think a lot of people like, oh, like not all Black sitcoms are great, but like, yeah, right. It's like, I think I loved what was it? I loved like the Steve Harvey Show was great. Martin was great. My Wife and Kids was very funny for a while. Then it kind of fell off because it tried to do a little bit too much. A lot of great Black Black shows, like Living Single was really good. There are a lot of shows that some of y'all might not be aware of, just because like maybe like you're like TV programming or whatever like doesn't like show the shows like often. But like I love those shows. I really did love like the Steve Harvey Show, Living Single, Martin. You know what I mean? Friends, like Friends is funny. I think like a lot of people are like, Friends is so white. I didn't like Friends, but they lying. They love fucking Friends. Some of them are lying. They're lying to you. If a black fucking person who is around like I'm 29, right? If a black person who's like my age or under tells you that they did not like Friends at all, they're fucking lying. Like most of them, right? Like some of them, yeah, that's true. They might have been like they might have already been like, yo, like I'm not trying to like support white TV, blah blah blah, whatever. Like okay, but a lot of them tend to be liars, right? Friends was fucking hilarious, right? Like it's a funny show. I've never gone around and be like, nah, I ain't like Friends, man. You can critique a show and be like, yo, like this show does some things, right? In terms of elevating whiteness in a certain way, right? Like you can make those critiques, right? But don't fucking come to me talking about, man, there was nothing funny about Friends. I ain't like Friends. Fuck out of here, man. You a liar. You a liar. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. You know, some people they have to, right? They have to put on a front, or they feel like they have to put on a front because like, you know, everything about them is sort of like, you know, a more like intense I wouldn't even say progressive or radical, right? Because you can be progressive and radical and not be like a jackass, right? But like I've met people like that who are just like, nah, they every aspect of their being and their history and their experience, right, has to be I loved everything black, which I mean, like there's like, right, which is like maybe it was like for a few people, right? If you had particular parents that were like, you know, Afrofuturists and things of that nature, and like, you know, or like, followed like, you know, let's say the doctrines of like Marcus Garvey, you know what I mean, and Malcolm X, shit like that, right? Like, okay, right, right, and even like the more radical like writings of Martin Luther King Jr., right? Like yeah, that's fine. There are people who definitely have that experience, but the majority of people in the United States, like, I know a lot of black motherfuckers that love Friends. I do. You know what I mean? So don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. But like, yeah, everybody loves Raymond. People love that shit, man. They lying. They be like, oh, I didn't like everybody loves Raymond. They lying. They fucking lying. And you know they lying. You know what I mean? Like, you know they fucking lying. You know what I mean? Like, nah. I watch that every day before school. Yeah, right? Like, yo. Yeah, it's like I know radicals that are like phenomenal and like are really great about like understanding what it means to be like a progressive radical, right? In a way that doesn't make you a jackass. You know what I mean? Like I would consider myself to be a progressive radical in a certain way, right? Like but I don't go around being like, yo man, come on man, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like aggressive in the jerk way, right? In a way that like jerks are, like, because I've met a lot of, right, I live in New York City. So I've met a lot of progressive radicals that like, some of them are like, you know, really close friends of mine. But I know people who like, you know, are super progressive, are great radicals, but like they're it's not right, like, because there's like, right, there's the I think very correct rhetoric that is like, I'm not here to coddle you, right? And I understand that, right? Like you should not coddle, you shouldn't have to coddle people, right? As a person of color. But at the same time, it does not give you license to be a jackass, right? Like that's not how the shit works. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I see it. So like I have my viewpoints and I've like, you know, done my research and I've read my books and I've talked to people and I've done all those things, right? But I, I like present myself like to the world, to people, you know, to family, to relatives, like as like you know what I mean, like a nice guy, you know. So I'm not about that shit. Well, let me think. Yeah, right. It's right. Like it's not the radicals, but it's just like there are some radicals who like, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be radicals. It could be like it could be individuals that are like even like neoliberal in their thinking. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to talk about that. There's a whole bunch of shit to talk about that. But let me see. What music do you listen to? I listen to a lot of R&B and a lot of R&B and a lot of rap music. Like this is right now, right? Like as a kid, I also listened to that too. But like I would say high school through like the first half of college. Like when I was when I was at community college, like I listened to a ton of rock music, like a ton of like punk rock, like all that shit. Like I listened to, power pop, whatever you want to call it. I listened to all that shit. Like I loved Food by Ramen. I loved all those fucking bands that came out of there. You know what I mean? Like I listened to all that shit. You know, I love it. I love it to death. I still like some of the music that comes from there. But I think what happens, like at least for me, is like you know, like I really love R&B music and I really love rap music. Like I love that shit more so than I love like rock, like that rock music. You know what I mean? Like that punk rock music. Because like that punk rock music was really important to me as like a teenager growing up. You know, like through high school, and like it got what I was going through in a different way. You know, and like rap and art, like and like in a different way. You know what I mean? In terms of the emotions and the hormones and all that fucking shit. You know what I mean? That in a way that rap and R&B didn't, in a way. Like rap and R&B were really concerned with like presenting particular images, right? Whereas sort of like, and that's not to say that punk rock wasn't, right? Or at least like modern sort of like contemporary sort of like punk rock, right? Like 2000 forward. But like I would say like, you know, power punk, punk rock, stuff like that. You know, we're really concerned with like the range of emotions and what it meant to go through like those emotions and how you felt and like, you know, things like that, and all the sort of like stuff that you maybe as a guy didn't feel like you could talk about because you were listening to like rap music and stuff like that or whatever. And that's not to say like rap music didn't do anything. It's just that like punk rock tend to had more of a propensity to do that. So I listened to a lot of that when I was in high school and a little bit of like community college. But right now, like R&B and rap music most of the time, like and pop very rarely, but sometimes, you know, like if there's like a pop song that I just really like, yeah. But I listen to a lot of R&B, a lot of rap. Like I love R&B. I love fucking R&B. MF Doom. I've heard him, but I haven't listened to it yet. Whatchamacallit? You know, no, you all right. So all right, in terms of like Dragon, right? Like in terms of like the US, like I would say that like definitely like the US definitely has a right penchant to promote events as if they are the end of the world, which I don't, right, which is true, right? Because like none of these events mean the end of the world. They don't. A lot of like sometimes you have like you know, public intellectuals who will purport that, but they're like sometimes like, you know, like they have to maintain some semblance of fame, right? Otherwise they're not really public intellectuals. They're just, you know, intellectuals who aren't really doing the work that they could be doing in academia. You know what I mean? So like you know, certain individuals like are like that. But yeah, it's not like I'm not gonna say that the issues aren't one, valid, and two, extremely important, but they don't, by no means are they like, yo, this is the end of the fucking world as we know it. Like no, no. Maybe for individuals, right, in their individual sort of worlds, but those are people who have a very like Americentrist view of their existence, right? Like they don't have any real conception of like the shit that goes on in Europe or East Asia, or in India, right? Or fucking South America or Canada. You know what I mean? Like they don't have any type of like idea, right, of what's going on. So that's what tends to happen. You tend to have like shit like that, where like very like Americentrist viewpoints of the issues that are going on within the United States, right? And I want to also like clarify something, right? Like you can talk about right, like right. Of course, if you're talking about things that are happening in the United States, they are distinctly American in some ways, but that doesn't mean that like the United States is like, you know, closed off to like the rest of the world. That's not the case. Like in some senses, right? Like there are very like the U.S. has very much so has like distinct connections, right? Transnational connections to like other countries. So I like when people are like, oh, those other countries don't matter, we're doing our shit over here. Like that no, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like if you have any sort of like idea of what's going on in terms of like even just the U.S. economy. Like the U.S. economy is like directly correlates to anything that's particularly happening in like countries that, one, they are indebted to, and two, want to like become friendly with. You know what I mean? So like, nah. You know, let me think. But going back to the music, I love R&B rap music. I love like probably I love R&B more than I love rap. I love rap music, but I love R&B music. Like R&B music is my shit, man. I grew up with it. I grew up with R&B music. Um, you know, people say they're like Nazis in the streets, and then I mean we call them neo Nazis, right? Like they're not actual sort of Nazis from like the 1940s. Maybe like most of those, like if they're still alive, are like chilling in like a house holed up because they understood that they fucked up, and that they'll have a lot of people like if it like I remember, I think there was a story like of one guy who like was found out as like an actual like Nazi soldier, and like he fucking and like they just came at it like I feel like they came to his house, like they're harassing him at all hours of the night, the day, like, you know, and it was like, yo, like dude, like you participated in like the genocide of Jewish of the Jewish community. You know what I mean? Like that, like, sorry man, sorry if you're not getting no sleep, you know. So shit like that. But it's going back to the music. I tell people a lot of times that like I'm indebted to R&B because R&B really allowed me to be confident in who I am as a person, and to sort of go out there and be like, and just like talk to people. You know what I mean? Not just like women, because like, you know, or guys, right? Like just like people, right? Like it wasn't it didn't necessarily have to be about like a romantic connection or anything like that. It was just like, yo, I could just make friends with people because like we like R&B music. Like I could like talk to people about, you know, I could talk to people about Stevie Wonder and Sam Cooke and Gerald Levert and Charlie Wilson and Brian McKnight and, you know, all the black bands. Like I could talk about, you know, Blackstreet, 112, New Edition. You know what I mean? I could talk with them about that stuff. You know, even the newer sort of like acts. I could talk with them about Joe and Mario and Avant and Tyrese and Genuine and Tank. I could talk with them about that stuff because I genuinely love that music. You know what I mean? I love that shit. And some of the women, right? I could talk with them about Keisha Cole. I could talk with them about, you know, Patti LaBelle, Billie Holiday, Etta James, like all those people. Like I could talk to like people about that stuff because I love that music, you know, and they love that music. So that was a connection. That was like that's a connect. Like I truly value, right, like the ways in which like you can really connect with people. Just like, you know, it doesn't have to be just music. Just like with the interests, right? A lot of people like sometimes they have a hard time connecting with people. Sometimes not because they have interest, but because they don't have a bunch of interest. Some of them like might feign to have interest, but really aren't interested in a lot of like much of anything. They might be interested in like one thing and that's it. And it's like that limits you. You know what I mean? That limits you to in terms of the connections that you can make with people, with the conversations that you could have, with the conversations that you could have outside of that interest. You know, so I'm always trying to like learn about new things. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm into like all shit, like all types of shit. You know, so like when I'm into like manga, I'm into manga. Like when I'm into anime, I'm into anime. When I'm into sports, I'm into sports. Like when I'm into music, like I fucking love music. You know what I mean? So yeah. But if it's my favorite manga, that's tough. Urasara definitely. Urasara, 20th Century Boys, all that jazz, like shit like that, Monster, shit like that. Like I love that shit. I mean, 20th Century Boys is phenomenal. That's just a phenomenal text. Like Juno Diaz, like the author of The Life of Oscar Wilde and Drowned and If You Lose Her, like he adores like 20th Century Boys. I think he also adores like manga in general, but like particularly 20th Century Boys. It's so well constructed, just in a way that like a lot of other manga like mangaka have not done. Period. So I would say he's one of them. I love Osamu Tezuka. I fucking adore Tezuka. There's one text that like a lot of people I don't think haven't read, but like probably a lot of people in Japan have, but like a lot of people in the United States have not read just because it's kind of a long text. It's called Ode to Kirihito by Tezuka, right? The author of Astro Boy and Phoenix and all those texts. I fucking love Ode to Kirihito. That shit is fire. Like that's just a book. Like if you take like however long it takes you to just sit down, or like certain number of days, weeks, or whatever, months, whatever, it's such a journey. You just learn so much about yourself, how you view things, what would you do in particular situations, like about how people might be, how people are. It's just such a good fucking manga. Like I love that manga. I'm gonna check out MF Doom, definitely. I'm gonna check it out. I'll check him out. Because before I got Spotify, like I could only really like use YouTube to search for like certain types of music. But now with Spotify, I could just like download an album and like really listen to the albums and like, you know what I mean? Because like I couldn't do that when I was a kid because I was fucking broke. My parents were broke. So like, and they definitely, and my parents are super Christian. So they definitely weren't going to like buy me rap music and they definitely weren't going to buy me R&B music because like, like R&B music was particularly like could be sexual and it was about relationships. And they were like, nah, we're not trying to teach you about that stuff. We're trying to teach you about the Lord and and I was not jiving with that. But yeah, like now I have Spotify and I have like certain things and I can just like really like sit and listen. I can listen like while I'm showering, while I'm doing, when I'm cleaning, while I'm doing research, while I'm writing, reading, whatever, while I'm on the bus or train to work. You know what I mean? Just a lot of shit. Like I'm really indebted to music. I tell people this all the time. Like music, I think saved me in a lot of ways. I could have been like a really intense introvert. But music really saved me in that way. Let me think. Favorite mangaka, yeah, Tezuka, Urasawa. Trying to think who else. I would say those are my two right now. Oh, and I can't remember the mangaka that writes Nana. But sometimes something that really pisses me off are like people who are like, I don't want to read shoujo, like I don't want to read shoujo manga or like josei manga or whatever, like because like it ain't about me or but it's like, you're missing out on great stories. Like this, like you're missing out on great stories. Like Nana is a phenomenal manga. It's so good. Like sometimes like you're like, man, like you know, like I remember when I was like, I had like an epiphany. I want to say around 20, 21, 22, probably I want to say like 21. And I really realized that like I knew some things like just like about like the about women, right? But not a lot. I knew very little. I think a lot of like guys sometimes they're like, yo, man, I know exactly what I need to do. I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 da, da, da. And a lot of times they don't know, they don't have a fucking clue, man. Like they really don't have a fucking clue. They really don't, man. Nah, no problem, Dragonite, man. Come back whenever. Come back whenever. But yeah, it's just like they don't have a clue. They really don't. And that was like, an instance where I was like, yo, like I have to like be open to like listening to women, hearing about like the issues that they're dealing with, like who they are, how they view things, stuff like that. Like reading stories where women are like at the forefront, because like they're just so different, right? Like when you read a shonen manga, like most of the time women are not at the forefront. So there's just there are different things that are happening there, and there are different concerns that a manga will have. You know what I mean? So when you read something like Nana, it's like it's not necessarily night and day, but it's just like things are like there's a difference in the things that are brought to the forefront, right? In the ways that things are discussed, in the sort of the ways that like characters interact and things of that nature. It's just like it's just different. This is not just Nana, but just like there are other stuff too. So that's for me. Like I make it a point to make sure that like I'm like always asking around like like okay, what are some good stories, like you want to read Sailor Moon, you want to read Cardcaptor Sakura, you want to read Nana, you want to read something like Bunny Drop, I believe, or Saga Drop, I think it's called. You want to read certain things that just like are thinking about interactions between people differently, right? So that's kind of just me. But I'm definitely gonna check out the I'm definitely gonna check out MF Doom. I'm definitely gonna check out MF Doom. I'm looking forward to that. I gotta drink something. But real talk, if you check out any manga, like one particular manga in your lifetime, three, the third one, no, fourth one, right? Because I would say four, right? Urasara, Sawa, Tsuka, can't remember the author of Nana. I think it's like something. I can't remember, but Nana, check it out. And the fourth one is Yoshihiro Tatsumi. You gotta check out Yoshihiro Tatsumi, like, bruh. You know? Sorry, this is my fiance. It's okay. You know, but the Pushman, Goodbye, like you gotta check these out, man. It's like, right, because sometimes like people read manga and like they expect they expect battles because that's all they're reading. They're only reading like battle manga. But when you read something like a Ode to Kirihito or the Pushman or Goodbye, right? Like these are texts that like are really, really, and right, even the 20th Century Boys, right? Like they're really talking about like just the fucking human condition. You know what I mean? What's going on around like in particular times? Like, I mean those texts really, and those manga really changed like my perspective in a different way, right? About like what manga are, right? What they could be, or what manga can be, right? Same with Nana, right? Like same with shoujo and josei manga. Like you gotta expand your horizons. You have to, otherwise you'll be reading the same fucking stories over and over and over. You know what I mean? Like in a manga sense, right? In the construction of it and shit. That's how I feel about it. But if any of you have any of the questions, like let me know. Let me know. What are some other questions? Like what do you want me to talk about? We can talk about like I said, we can talk about anything you want, you know, except for white supremacy, because that's something for like a stream. That's like you need that for like it's like it needs its own stream, you know. So so let me know. What do you want to talk about? And if what anime are you watching right now? I don't think I honestly I don't think I'm watching any anime outside of Dragon Ball Super, honestly, which is really weird because like there was a point where, well, oh no, it's not weird. It's just that like time constraints like are a thing, right? So like, oh yeah, Ed and Eddie, Cartoon Network is weird. I had to play catch up kind of because my parents couldn't afford cable when we were younger, so like we didn't have Cartoon Network, but like what happened was like they had bought cable for like a few weeks, maybe like a month or so, and this is a while ago. This is like when like Space Ghost Coast to Coast was still on and stuff like that, and so like we still had the cable wire connected and everything like that to the building. So what we would do is we kind of had like bootleg cable in a way, so we only had certain channels. But one channel that we did have that we like were like, yes, we have, like, was Nickelodeon. So I fucking love Nickelodeon cartoons, but I also love Cartoon Network cartoons. Ed and Eddie, Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo. I will say Johnny Quest was like a fucking problem. Oh my goodness, that's like one, right? Whenever like right when you guys, well, what's the problem? Like this, what's the problem with white supremacy? And it's like watch Johnny Quest, like watch Johnny Quest. That's like a cartoon where you're like, come on, bro, like come on. It's like, you know what I mean? You got this you got this Indian dude named Haji who's always saying like, gibberish, right? He's not actually speaking in any sort of like language or anything like that. He's always, it's always like gibberish, and he's always like following Johnny Quest, the little blonde white boy around. You know what I mean? It's just like shit like that is like ridiculous, right? Like on some, I believe that was produced by Hanna-Barbera, but yeah, Hanna-Barbera has some issues too, but yeah, like shit like that. But I loved Ed and Eddie. I loved yeah, Johnny Bravo, Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, and Space Ghost. Uh, and I loved the Powerpuff Girls. I fucking adored the Powerpuff Girls. Oh man, that right again. This is one of those cartoons where it's like you can't tell me that you don't like feminism or you don't like particular things because this is a feminist cartoon and it's fucking lit. Like, let's go. Come on. Stop playing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like certain things like that where it's like, you know, some people are like, I don't like it, I don't like that. And it's like, but you adore the Powerpuff Girls. Like, come on, man. You sitting here telling me you love the Powerpuff Girls. Like, that's one of the most feminist fucking cartoons in existence. Like, come on. But let's move on. Um, what you call it? Have you watched Nickelodeon show Avatar? Of course, of course. How the hell could I not watch Avatar? Both. I watched Avatar, the last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. What was it? We were talking about something. The anime thing. The anime thing is just like time, right? Like I don't have a lot of time to watch anime because like it's very time consuming. Like to sit down and watch one episode, it's very difficult to skip through an episode of an anime, right? Unless like you're super familiar with like how it's going to run, like Dragon Ball Super or something like that. But when it comes to anime, I just don't have like the time right now. I will at some point, but like right now, like I have way more time to like do streams of manga and stuff like that and everything. Because manga, like you can kind of I mean, it doesn't take as much time most of the time. Like if I'm just reading on my own. But yeah, I loved Avatar, The Last Airbender. Like, I will say this: The Legend of Korra did some things that I really, really liked. There were some characters that I really thought were very good. Zahir and Kuvira were phenomenal. I thought they were great villains. But like the one thing I loved about Zahir was like, Zahir was like almost he was like a meta sort of character, right? He was a very like meta thinking kind of character, right? Because he would talk about the construction of the villains. He would talk about the construction of the characters. So he would say something like, "But are these people really villains?" Like, you know what I mean? He would like force Korra to think about like the fucking characters, like the show and like shit like that, and like how are these people constructed? Like, are they actually villains or are they actually just characters that like have they're like have like particular like good ideas and goals and things of that nature, but like they just kind of like veered a little bit to the left and shit like that. Like I thought Zahir as a character was phenomenal. He was great because like he wasn't overly he wasn't like he wasn't like overly like philosophical in the way that like a lot of like people can be and a lot of guys can be. But like whenever he said something, there was always like a point to it, right? I can't remember what was it. Like he said something when he was in prison, right? And before he broke out, before he got his airbending, he said something like I can't remember. I'm gonna look it up because that shit like it was so good. I'm gonna look it up because that shit was. It was so good. It was such a great line. Yeah, like okay, right? He's like when he said like instinct is a lie told by a fearful body hoping to be wrong. Like it was like and this sounds like gibberish, right? When he's just saying it like in a kind of but like when you're thinking about what's happening in that moment, it's like he's really talking about like just like all these people, right? And he's talking about all of the events that have gone on and have literally have shifted how like the views of individuals who had like a very like stolid view of bending and people who could bend and people who couldn't bend, right? Because this I can't remember what it's called, like the solstice or something like that, but or the convergence or something like that. But like it changed the entire way that people had to think about benders and non-benders and shit like that. It was like fuck, man. And when he was talking about it, it was like not only was he talking about that, but he was talking about like these fucking guards who just didn't really know you know, what the fuck was about to happen to them. Like they didn't know they were gonna get their asses whooped just now. You know, like you know what I mean? Like that, like shit like that. Like he didn't just say things to say things. It was like there were always meanings behind what he was talking about, right? Like when he was talking about like, you know, release your earthly tether and things like that and everything, right? So that like that was like directly connected to bending. Like it wasn't just like him spouting nonsense for the viewers or anything like that. It was like this had to do with the way, like with the plot, with like the way that things were going to go down. You know what I mean? Like shit like that was like, I appreciated him as a character so much because of that. Because he wasn't just like, you know, there were like some manga and anime characters who just spout off like, you know, bullshit, you know, and then that, but it doesn't ever come to anything. You know, it's always just them kind of like trying to like, it almost feels like they're trying to teach you, you the reader, something that like you might already know, or they try to like, you know, or they're acting like you're stupid and that you need to be told in this pseudo philosophical way, something. And like everything that he said was directly related to the events that were going to come in the story, right? Like that things that he was directly like going to do. So I like that, right? Like those you know, quotes or whatever you want to call them, right? Like those statements that he made were always right, almost like speaking things into existence, right, in a way, right? So like right, like so I love that. I love that. Like Zahir is one of my favorite characters of the Avatar franchise, period. And what was it? What was I gonna say? Yeah, Kavir was a great character. I loved her, right? Because like she like legit, like, you know, she wasn't she wasn't like particularly sort of like, right, like special in the context of the show in terms of like abilities and stuff like that, right? Like right, like a lot of people can metal bend, right? But like she was like she was just like very intelligent, like she was just very smart. She knew what the fuck she was what she was about. She understood like you know, Korra, who she was, how to come at her in battle, things like that. How to, you know, she was a strategist, like real talk strategist, and I love the character for that. You know, and if we're gonna talk about the Last Airbender, I mean, like, you know, if we're gonna talk about the Last Airbender, I loved, you know, Aang was a phenomenal character. He's just a great character. You know, I loved him because like, when it came down to it, he could be really, really good at like seeing through people. But also like, you know, but there were times where he couldn't. You know what I mean? Like he was a very like, you know, sometimes he could be very flawed, but sometimes he could be really, really insightful. And I think like people are like that. People are like, you know, yeah. Aang is yeah. For me, I did like I love Aang. Like personally, I have Aang over Korra, but that's just me because like I think like, you know, in some ways we had more, not even time, but just like, you know, there was more to his development in some ways. And I think with Korra, like sometimes like it felt kind of forced, like you could tell that character development was like really, really important, almost a little bit too important to how Korra kind of like moved and how Korra developed as a character. Like with Aang, it was just very like, these are the things that happened. Like Aang had one fucking goal. And like everything that he did, everything that happened through that journey to beat like the Fire Lord and to like, you know, change you know, the political makeup of like, you know, the Last Airbender, right? Of the right of that was like a goal, but like he just changed. You could see like throughout the series, like he changed. Like there were everything that he did, everything that he learned, all of his skills really changed his character. When he learned firebending, when he learned you know, when he learned how to water bend, when he learned how to earth bend, all those things were particularly different. Like they changed his character in particular ways, right? In his not only in his battle style, but just how he approached particular things. You know what I mean? I think like when he learned airbending, when he learned earthbending, he was after the fact, he was much more direct in certain instances. When he learned firebending, he was much more, you know, in tune with kind of like himself, but also you know, how others were affected by like his actions and things like that, right? Like there were just certain lessons that came with that. With water bending, he was, you know, like he grew in someone's but not, but like I guess with water bending, it was more like his connection with Katara grew. You know what I mean? Like certain things like that, like all these experiences really, you could see the subtle shifts in his character. With Korra, it was more like, it was kind of like, get these damn, like these are shifts, man. You got to see these shifts. Look at it. Look at Korra shifting. You know what I mean? It felt like I was like watching like a writer write the stuff as they were writing. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to feel like that. I want, like, the development should be organic. And with Korra, I think the only time where I felt like Korra's development was particularly organic was, you know, like how she felt like you know, sometimes romantically, but mainly like the trauma that she faced, like at the hands of Zahir. That was like, fuck. But that was like, to me, the best I've seen Korra. Like, just like really working through her trauma as an Avatar, not knowing whether she could whether she was good enough, understanding, right? Like there was like a lot of like that was like assault, right? Like she was assaulted by a dude. Like, this is like real talk. Like, this is real shit. You know what I mean? So she was like devastated. You know what I mean? She was like, you know what I mean? She had like PTSD. Like not like right. It wasn't just physical trauma, but like mental trauma. Like that was the best thing that I'd seen out of Korra. Period. I don't think anything in Korra like bested that. If I had to really like think about it, like some people might be like, oh, there was this other thing that happened. This is really cool, blah blah blah. You know, but that was the best thing to happen to the Legend of Korra, because before that it was kind of but that was, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, no, Korra beats up dudes on the daily though, but you have to understand that like there's still like a politics, right? Like it's like not all not all women are Korra. Not all women can defend themselves like that. Like and right, and like it's like and at the same time, right? Korra dealt with her trauma differently, right? Korra dealt with that differently, right? I'm saying that's just an aspect of it. But what I loved about it was that like it was like a particular trauma, right? Like even when she went back to see Zahir, she's like that trauma was still in her. She she still was like, yo, like she would jump. You know what I mean? She would jump at the like when Zahir like, you know, even just did that. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of shit you see with like survivors of like assault, sexual assault, rape, things like that, right? You know what I mean? Like that's like you see those things. You know, so like even though the story, I think, tried to like, you know, like the story was very clear in like what was going on, what happened. There was an overarching narrative of that. You know, so that's what I appreciated that, because it was like they just did that brilliantly. You know what I mean? Like Korra was still, you know, she still came back. She still, you know, had the courage to like face it here and everything like that. But she was still dealing with the trauma that came about that. Like Zahir fucked her up. You know what I mean? Like real talk. You know, and there's like constant stuff. Yeah. So okay. So I'm gonna end. I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna end the stream now, because like the stream's been going on for a while, I think. Yeah, the stream's going on for like, yeah, now 30 minutes, which is pretty good stream. So I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank all y'all for coming out. All y'all. Shouts out to all y'all. Shouts out to All Screen Oda, Joseph Logan, Dragon Eye 666. You know, I'm just going through the list. Man. Nakamanga, of course, Orpheus. Who else can do? Havoc. Shouts out. Professor Poke Geek. Shouts out. Shogun Senpai. Shouts out. If I miss anybody, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure I think I shouted out everybody. But I'm gonna end the stream now. All right. Yeah. Next stream. I'm gonna keep trying to do these. You know. So whatever you want to ask, like whatever you want to talk about, just let me know. You know, you can always send me a Twitter. Like you can always send me a private like tweet or something like that. I don't have a Discord. Like I'm not like that, because I don't have the time to like run it. But feel free to send me tweets and stuff. You know, or an email or a message or whatever, and I'll get back to you definitely. All right, so I'm gonna end the stream. I'm the Black Manga Critic, and I'm out.